Member for Timmins, James Bay.
Speaker, no child in Canada should ever have to beg for the right to quality education in a safe and comfy school. And the children of Saskatchewan are here today to tell this Prime Minister that they're done with the begging. They are tired of the positive words and the broken promises. They are tired of the squalor and the flooding and the children being medevaced out when they're sick. So to the Prime Minister, let's just cut to the chase. What is the financial commitment he will make today to ensure that we get those children off that floodplain and into a safe and comfy school that they deserve?
Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, no relationship is more important than that with Indigenous peoples, and that's why from the very beginning we invested $8.6 billion over the coming years in making sure that we move towards parity in education. In working with the community of Saskatchewan, an interim solution has been found to allow classes to start this week while a longer-term solution is identified. We're supporting the community's request for a long-term modular school solution, and we will be working with them to expedite the project. Saskatchewan students remain our priority as we determine next steps, with further updates on the solutions expected later this week. I thank the member opposite for his question.
Don't let your kids watch it!
Timmins, James Bay.
An interim solution. You know, this past week, the Prime Minister berated First Nation leaders for wasting his time, and he said it wasn't reconciliation. If he talks to the children of Saskatchewan, they will tell him that positive words isn't going to build them a school. It takes political will. And in their short life, they have seen endless broken promises from government. So now we have the promise of another Band-Aid. So let's cut to the chase. If he won't cost out the price of those Band-Aid solutions, give us the timeline. When is he going to get those children off that floodplain and into a safe and comfy school? Give us that answer now and stop wasting our time.
Order, I remind the Honourable Member for Timmins, James Bay, to direct his comments to the Chair. The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the road to reconciliation is a long...
For if by some minute chance you meet the challenge, your reward will be great.
Immediate steps can and must be taken, which we are
Whoopsie. No.
taking. We recognize the need to invest right now in emerging mental health crises, in housing needs, in education needs to help Indigenous students and people right across the country, while at the same time we move forward towards greater rights and recognition, towards greater partnership, towards greater autonomy for Indigenous peoples in this country. That is something that we are on together as a journey. It is one in which we are partners and which we work with respect and open.
You liar!
Thank you. My name's Jason LeBlanc. I'm from Estevan. I have to give you a little bit of a credit for one thing is you handle yourself well in these situations, but I think the reason for that is because you're used to it. People are turning on you and you're starting to get really good at circling around on these answers here, and that's what I'm seeing tonight. My question is very broad. If you, for a lot of you sitting in here right now, don't realize what's going on right out those doors. There's a huge protest, and there's lines up of semis and trucks and taxpayers' money, and it's enormous what's going on. And this is just one of the many protests that have been going on that CBC fails to report. And in the CBC that we see in Saskatchewan is not the same CBC that you see in the East, and the people need to realize that. Thank you. Now, part of my question is just for you personally, Mr. Trudeau. Have you seen, you heard of the terms of continuous cropping, green space? There's so many more things that are happening in Saskatchewan. When's the last time that you saw diesel exhaust being emitted from a diesel truck? You don't see that anymore because we've been on that. When's the last time you've seen a train going down the track belching black smoke out? You don't see that anymore. And when's the last time you saw farm tractors that used to be everybody farmed 10 quarters of land and there was 10 tractors out there going. Now they're farming 100 quarters of land with 1 or 2 tractors, and they're all not emitting this diesel and this exhaust and these fumes that you talk about. When you get onto these questions that rile me up a little bit is because a gentleman spoke earlier, and that was his words, but he talked about globalism. China is probably emitting, I'm not sure of the numbers, but how much more carbon are they emitting? And you're charging us with a carbon tax, and yet you're promoting it globally when that is not how things are to work here. And you're taking money away from us in Canada. You talked about education. We had questions up here about education and how you're going to pay for it, yet you're cutting the very arm off that puts the equalization payments down to your part of the country. So my question is, sorry, ma'am? You would like me to ask the question? You know what? I sat here and I watched your face most of the night, ma'am. And you are...
Okay, hang on. Let's not make it personal.
Okay.
Love the mansplaining. I'm enjoying it.
You're loving what?
The mansplaining.
Hey,
Let's not make it personal. Sorry, let's be respectful.
My question is, why would you charge a carbon tax on something that is not even proven to be factual and taking money away out of our pockets for Canada? Thank you.
Thank you for your question, sir. Okay. The question is, why are we putting a price on pollution? Let's start with the fact that climate change is real, and it is a challenge. A few years ago, the floods in Saskatchewan cost $600 million to Saskatchewan's economy. Every year we're seeing increases in droughts, in floods, in wildfires in BC and Fort McMurray. We're seeing more extreme weather events, from twisters to hurricanes down on the southern coasts of the United States. We are seeing an increased cost with the increase of extreme weather events. That is the cost. That is what is happening because of climate change. We know it is going to get worse. And we are right now in a situation where we are perhaps the first generation that knows how to solve this problem, but also the last generation that is actually going to be able to do anything to solve this problem and save the ecosystems and the planet that we have. That is the issue we have. So, most of us agree, we need to fight climate change, and we need to do it in a way that is going to protect our lives. Sorry, sir, I listen to you. China has a carbon tax, okay? China has a carbon tax. Sorry. They're not doing it the way, so you think we should do things the way China does things? I know that's not what you're saying.
I hate this channel.
Saying, sir. Sorry. What we need to do is look at a way that Canada can do what it needs to do to fight climate change and grow our economy and support regular people while we are making that change. That is the imperative we have. Now, at the very basic level, there is, as we've heard here, a disagreement on whether or not we have to act to fight climate change. I think we do. I know many Canadians think we do. There are some people, including the Conservative Party of Canada, that does not think we need to fight climate change.
It's time to stop! It's time to stop, okay? No more!
They have no plan to do that. They are not putting forward a plan to do that. That is something I think Canadians should be thoughtful about when we make a decision next fall about who we're going to vote for in the next election.